Hi-ho guys, this is color theory video number 2. We've only got 3 vocabulary words today. Woo! Complementary, tertiary, and analogous. So we talked about primary and secondary in the first video. We're going to add tertiary to those 2. And then we also talked about warm and cool. And in addition to warm and cool, we're going to add complementary and analogous. Let's see if you can pick up the definitions through this video. All right, get those down. Logbook, pencil. Good job. All right, so today I'm going to use a plastic lid, just like you guys have, and the same awful runny smelly paint. Alright, so there's my first primary color, yellow. My second primary color, which I'm gonna put that in the crack right here, just to try to contain it a little more. And oh no, it looks like I need more blue. I'll be right back. Blue is like the super smelly one too. Yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Alright. I've got to remember to bring cornstarch tomorrow to see if we can thicken some of these paints up. I don't know who does this, but it's like they get down to the bottom of the paint and they add a bunch of water. Ugh, not realizing that it totally messes everything up. Alright. Third primary color, blue, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it in that little well. Oh, this is bad. Okay. I'm also going to use a paintbrush today to mix my colors. And a cup to wash my brush out. The last supply that I have is a paper towel, and that's just to get the extra water out of my paintbrush. The blue and red especially already have enough water in them, and we don't want to add more water. Look at that. This is not good. Okay, so to help you out, I am going to stick this on the worksheet that we used today. So as a quick refresher, we mix 2 primary colors to create a secondary color, right? Probably need more paint in that. Yeah. Do you see how when you use a brush, a lot of it sticks into the brush? If you roll your brush like that, it gets a lot of the paint out. To keep my colors nice, I'm going to do my very best to get as much of the paint out of this brush as possible. That way I don't accidentally end up contaminating my colors. Alright, so I've got my orange. It's like water. This is so bad. I've got my purple. I'm going to roll my brush, get that paint out. And it looks like green goes right here. Excellent. Hooray! Alright, so that's our review. We've got our primary, our secondary colors, and our triangles. And when we divide this in half this way, we've got our warm and our cool. Now for the tertiary. Well, you know, I put complementary on your vocabulary list first because I want to do it before we mix the tertiary colors so you're not confused. All right, so a complementary color, complement is another word for opposite in this case, so we could also call these colors opposite from each other. There are three sets of complementary colors. Each set has two colors in them. They are yellow and purple, orange and blue, green and red. Notice that they are also located directly across from each other on the color wheel. So I am very quickly putting a little bit of color onto my worksheet here, washing my paintbrush out every single time. So there's my the color wheel on my palette, and here's my color wheel on the paper. Rainbow order, ROYGBV, and that's actually going the opposite way that my color wheel was going on the palette last time. Okay, so complementary colors, it's a little easier to see on here. They're opposite each other. Bop, bop, bop. What's cool about these is each set of complementary colors contains a primary and a secondary color. Also, one will always be a warm color and the other will always be a cool color. So right now our warm is yellow, our cool is purple. Our secondary is orange, our primary is blue. Green is secondary and cool. Red is primary and warm. You can also remember, so our tool reminds us that complementary colors are across from each other. You can also kind of play math. I think William mentioned this in class today, which made me really happy. Purple is made out of red and blue. The last primary color is yellow, which is the opposite. Green is made out of yellow and blue. The last primary color is red, which is opposite. Blue is a primary color. The remaining two are yellow and red, and when you mix them you get orange. Therefore orange is complementary to blue. Hooray! Alright, now let's move on to tertiary, because this is where you get a bajillion colors. I'm making video number 2.
Chris Pensa, please call your room. Chris Pensa, please call your room.
Alright, so to make your tertiary colors, it's kind of like making secondary colors out of the primary colors, where you just kind of move the primary color over to each side of itself and then add the primary color that's next to it. Except this time we are going to use a primary color and a secondary color. So I'm going to add a little bit of orange to my yellow, and what you should be noticing is that this is definitely a very yellow orange. You might see it better when I put it on my paper. These colors exist between the primary and secondary colors, and they have names like yellow orange, red orange, blue green. Alright, so next I'm going to make a red orange. So I'm going to take some of my regular old orange and add a little bit of red to it. And especially when you compare it to that red, it's definitely oranger than the red. And definitely redder than the orange that we have. And then you just keep going around. So we'll take some of our purple, add more red, and it goes between the purple, and the red. Take some of our purple, add a tiny bit of blue, because it's blue. Put it between my purple and my blue. That's actually a nicer purple than this one. It's all relative. Colors are relative. Ask me about that tomorrow. Because that's not anything that you are responsible for, so I don't want to use all of your time with it. Here's my yellow green. And very last is my blue-green. Cool. Let's move that aside so you can see my handy-dandy color wheel. Cool. So what you should be noticing is each tertiary color is somewhere between the two colors beside it. Another word that people use for these colors is intermediary. So my yellow-orange is oranger than yellow, but yellower than orange. My blue-green is bluer than my green, but greener than my blue. My blue-violet is bluer than my purple, but more purple than my blue. And those are tertiary colors. There are 1,000 different ranges. There are 2 paintings that I need to remember to bring in for you tomorrow. One's a color study I did for the painting class, and the other one is a color study I did by myself. And the one I did by myself, you will really see how many colors there are. It's pretty cool. All right, let's move on. So now we have complementary directly across from each other. And we also have our tertiaries, which exist between a primary and a secondary color. You use one primary and one secondary to mix it. The last one that we have is analogous. Analogous describes a family of colors that exist next to each other on the color wheel. So you would choose 3 to 4 colors that are next to each other, and that is your analogous family. For example, yellow, yellow-orange, orange, red-orange are analogous. Purple, purple, blue-purple, blue, blue-green are analogous. Ta-da! They make very pleasing looking paintings. And that's all. One way to remember analogous, the word analogy that you've gotten in English class. An analogy is using words to compare objects, right? His arms looked like rubber bands when he stretched. They just got so long, right?
Department heads, if you can come to the office, please. Department heads, if you can come to the office after your meeting.
It was snowing so hard that out my window it looked like a blank piece of paper. Things that are similar. These colors are similar because they're made with the same primary colors. Let me know if you have any questions tomorrow, and we will finish your first sheet, and then I'll also be giving you your color wheel number 2 sheet, and then on Friday we can just have a blast moving color around. Ciao.